The events of Yu-Gi-Oh! Are all in Yugi's imagination. The events of Yu-Gi-Oh! Are all in Yugi's imagination. Kusanagi is a member of the Data Storm. The Data Storm of Yu-Gi-Oh! V-Reigns remains mysterious. The Tumblr user Azure Fox believes one of the members is none other than Kusanagi. The full theory is long, so here's the TLDR version. The user also penned, Kusanagi mentions a certain group of people in episode 1, and I believe they hold a lot of importance to the plot and what little we know about it so far. I also believe that Kusanagi might have been one of their members due to recognizing the Data Storm immediately in episode 2 while others in the audience only knew it by name and rumors, and that it's possible the other relevant adults, namely Emma, Akira, and Revolver's father, were also members of this special speed dueling team. Whoever this certain organization was could also be villains or could be relevant to the plot in some other way. Zarc and Ray really did share a romance at some point. The aptly named Tumblr user the Yu-Gi-Oh! Theorist has a theory that speaks to the hearts of many fans who ship Zarc and Ray, as it suggests that their love is canon. The theory is easily long enough to merit a grad school thesis, but in brief, when Zarc summons his 4 dragons and blasts the dollar out of everyone and everything in the stadium, the survivors are obviously running away and finding shelter, except for Ray. She actually stops for a moment to express her concern over the anger the dragons are unleashing. If she, like everyone else in the stadium, had never met Zarc before, she'd be panicking along with them. But no, she's actually watching him, watching the dragons, commenting on the situation. Why, according to the wiki, she and Zarc both have the ability to understand dual monsters' spirits. So they have something in common, at least. Then, there's the question of why Ray decided to steal Leo's cards and divide up Zarc by herself, instead of simply allowing Leo to do it. I think she just made her stated excuse up to avoid the true reason, which could be one of 2 things. One is, she could be afraid of what Leo would have done to Zarc. The other possibility is, she's afraid of what Zarc would have done to Leo. If you look at Ray taking on Zarc, Zarc actually appears to hesitate, as if he doesn't really want to hurt her. Something about his word choice sounds more like broken trust than mere disappointment. Far from the law, you're no fun kind of attitude, he actually calls Ray a bastard and unforgivable. Sounds like the kind of reaction he'd have to a breakup, literal or otherwise. The last thing I want to add is that I've seen plenty of posts on Tumblr commenting on how poorly Leo's enacting his plan. From not ever carding Yuri, to not finding Zuzu/Yuzu sooner, to merging her with her counterparts in front of Yuya so he can react and go berserk. But here's something to bear in mind. Leo doesn't know anything about any relationships between the Dragon Boys and the Bracelet Girls, including Yuya and Zuzu. Why would he, considering that he didn't know about Ray and Zarc, all of a sudden, that particular mistake becomes a lot more understandable. Yugi is not alive in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds.
Reddit user /u/CheesyDoraToon101 has a theory that is sure to anger some fans. This Redditor contends that Yugi is not alive in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. The series starts with Tetsu Trudge, who is confirmed to be the same Trudge seen in Yu-Gi-Oh!, so 5Ds can't take place too far in the future. From this, the Redditor estimates Yugi would be somewhere in his late 20s or early 30s. However, as /u/CheesyDoraToon101 says, Domino City and New Domino City are the same city.
So what if Zero reverse slayed Yugi? It's possible, assuming he stayed in the city.
Yuto is finally able to speak to Yuya because they've learned to control their power.
The Tumblr user Windangle explains through a combination of reasoning and images why Yuto finally finds a way to communicate with Yuya in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V. In summary, we are seeing phases of Yuya being in control of this Berserk mode and Yuto slowly emerging out of Yuya as well. So after walking through these stages, I believe this is why Yuya and Yuto can finally talk to each other freely without any interruption or Berserk mode breaking havoc. They've grown and learned to be in control.
All the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series might fall on a single timeline.
By exploring Yugi's family tree, this Tumblr theory strives to connect all the timelines of the various Yu-Gi-Oh! Series into a single, coherent narrative. The theory begins by establishing that Yugi and his mother, Mrs. Yuto, live with Yugi's paternal grandfather, Solomon. Yugi's father is never seen. If Grandpa were to have more than one kid, they would be mentioned at least once. Yet it's never mentioned, so we can safely assume there is no one other than Yugi's dad. It would be possible, though, for Solomon to have had siblings, such as an older sister. If Solomon's sister married and had a child and then expired, this would have happened well before Yugi was born, while his father was still little or even a baby. Solomon's older sister and her child's children could be possible relations to Yugi and our precious Yuto family. If this theory is to be believed, this would explain why all the series protagonists seem to have unique abilities, as the show makes it clear that a connection to the cards can be passed down genetically. See Yami, Yugi, and Yugi.
The Millennium Rod created Yami Marik out of the negative emotions of Priest Seto.
This theory is a little convoluted, but basically, the Millennium Rod gains power by consuming negative emotions. This emotional leeching begins with the rod's original wielder, Priest Seto, and ultimately produces Yami Marik, a being born of Marik Ishtar's anger and loneliness. When Priest Seto fails to protect Pharaoh Atom, his self-hatred is consumed by the rod. What's more, he likely feels a great sense of loneliness when he rises up to succeed the Pharaoh, as he is surrounded by a new wife and royal court, which also feeds the rod. The theory continues. When the rod felt the same kind of anger and loneliness in Marik, it called to him and gave the being made from Marik's feelings power, because that is basically all he was. Marik hated the Pharaoh because that was the origin of Priest Seto's pain. Bonus, ancient Seto probably had one or two or dozens of if Atom hadn't been Pharaoh, this wouldn't have happened to him, moments which lead to Marik's obsession over taking Atom's throne from him before he got it back.
Yugi may have a special understanding of the cards, which gives him a leg up over other duelists.
When seen in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TV show, cards don't have descriptions written on them to explain their abilities. For this reason, Redditor/u/greenfingers559 believes that Yugi has an inherent grasp of cards' abilities, which gives him a leg up over less learned duelists. This Redditor references the time Yugi defeats Kaiba using a Kuribo card, despite the implication that Kuribo is one of the weakest monsters in the game. To achieve victory, Yugi uses Kuribo in a manner that Kaiba didn't even realize was possible. However, Redditor/u/Ken's other account disputes this theory, saying, but in the original Japanese release, the cards look like real life. They were changed in the release due to American laws about including toys in television shows. This does invalidate the theory. It's still a fun idea to consider.
Aknadin is not just Marik's ancestor. Instead, Marik is the reincarnation of Aknadin.
Reddit user /u/Emperor Joker has an alternative conception of Marik's origin and relationship to Aknadin. Whereas many believe that the two are distant biological relatives, this user posits that Aknadin is actually Marik in a past life. While Marik's father looks like Aknadin, /u/Emperor Joker believes that the likeness is just familial similarity, and cites the two characters' similar tendencies as evidence. Marik, like Aknadin, has a dark side brought out by the Millennium items, and it got so bad, and they were both overtaken by them to the point Marik became Yami Marik and Aknadin became Shadow Magus. Marik's father's loyalty to the Pharaoh was unshakable and obsessive, while Marik went in a direction very similar to Aknadin. I believe Yami Marik is ultimately the consequence of Yami Bakura using his Millennium ring on Aknadin's soul, and whatever he did to Aknadin carried over into his next life, and it created Yami Marik.
Pegasus might have created Toon monsters to counteract the power of the Egyptian god cards.
In the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, the Toon monsters kind of come out of nowhere. Why do cartoon versions of select cards exist, and what is their purpose? Redditor /u/Lunch77 believes the answer lies with Pegasus's desire for self-preservation. Since Pegasus was frightened by the capabilities of the Egyptian god cards he created, he needed a contingency plan in case they fell into the wrong hands. To defend against these all-powerful cards, he created new monsters that can break the rules of standard reality. Our Redditor points us toward the Toon monsters, who follow strictly cartoonish logic. Look at the qualities of Toon monsters. Complete avoidance of being destroyed by battle. They can dodge any attacks from non-Toons, hide in the Toon World book, able to attack opponents directly, etc. Sure, Pegasus probably created the Toons relinquished, Thousand Eyes Restrict, etc. so that nobody could defeat him in a duel period, but a lot of the cards seem to be an attempt to specifically counteract Obelisk, Slifer, or Ra.
Kaiba is against magic because Priest Seto did.
Kaiba is against magic because Priest Seto did.
Yugi's seemingly Themeless deck is symbolic of the Pharaoh's rule.
Yugi's seemingly themeless deck is symbolic of the Pharaoh's rule.
The characters of Yu-Gi-Oh! Are actually reincarnated Egyptians.
The characters of Yu-Gi-Oh! Are actually reincarnated Egyptians.
Exodia, the Forbidden One, could be the Abrahamic god.
Exodia, the Forbidden One, could be the Abrahamic god.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video then. Take care. Bye.